Hello, internet fans. It's your old pal Rottin Roger DeMarco here from 3bproductionco.com. And this week, we're going to be talking about Ken Wiederhorn's 1988 film, Return of the Living Dead, Part 2. I said that right. Wiederhorn. Wiederhorn. Okay, so here is the plot breakdown. The military is transporting 2,4,5-trioxin yet again. The driver is listening to music in his headphones like a fuckstick smoking weed. He hits a bump and they lose a barrel of 2,4,5-trioxin. And apparently, since he was wearing headphones, he didn't fucking notice. Flash forward a day or two, or however long, it's not necessarily clear. Jesse and these two punk-ass bullies stumble across the barrel of 2,4,5-trioxin. And like morons, they think there's weapons inside, so they're gonna bust open the barrel, releasing the 2,4,5-trioxin, letting the zombies come back again. While that's going on, Tom Matthews and James Karen are at the cemetery robbing dead bodies of their heads and of their jewels and things like that, because James Karen is a skeeve who sells body parts, not on the internet because that wasn't a thing, but he sells fucking body parts to weirdos. Everyone gets caught up in the zombie apocalypse. So that's basically the plot rundown. Tom Matthews and James Karen wipe the slate clean from their characters in the original Return of the Living Dead. They play two brand new characters with almost the exact same relationship going through the exact same thing. That right there should let you know you don't get to take this movie too goddamn serious, because two people who died in the original are fucking back. Don't read too much into it. Before I get into all of my overall thoughts about this movie, first, let's take a look at Rottin Roger's Splatter Facts. We have 9 dead bodies, although Billy dies like 17 times, but I'm only gonna count it once. Otherwise, there'd be a shitload of dead bodies in this movie, because that little fucker dies and comes back and dies and comes back and dies and comes back, but he gets one. You get one, that's it. We have 0 titties. We have face smooshing, we have apple choking, and we have a Horace Pinker sighting. So with the 0 titties, that means this time around, no quiggly titties. The methods of death include but are not limited to chomped, chewed, crunched, and 2,4,5-trioxined. I fucked that up. Now on to my overall thoughts of this film. The world is not kind to Return of the Living Dead Part 2. I'm not so sure I understand the reasoning. From my standpoint, I saw this movie at a very early age. I saw this movie, I was maybe 10 years old, so my overall thoughts of this film reflect that of a 10-year-old boy. And not much has changed, goddammit. I happen to think that this movie is very fun. We do have some fantastic zombie effects. We have some really silly humor. We have James Karen and Tom Matthews back again, and James Karen, you can quote Rottin Roger on this, but James Karen is way more funny in this movie than he was in the original. God damn, if every time that he opens his mouth, I almost start crying. I start laughing so hard. Especially the scene when they're leaving the cemetery and the zombies are coming back and he's just begging for, oh God, please forgive me. It's so fucking funny. Every time I watch it, I can't help but smile. So I think that this movie, while it is technically a horror comedy, really focused on the comedy aspect. I know that some people don't care for that, but me, personally, I have so much fun with this movie. I think that the zombies look great. I think that the lead character of Jesse, the young boy, is very fun. I think that Tom Matthews and James Karen fucking kill it. I love the character of Doc Randell. There's so many positives for me about this movie. Although my DVD is very strange because I remember when I was a kid that the audio was very different. The songs, the score, everything was different. So now every time I pop in my DVD, I expect to hear those songs and those sound elements, and they are not there. I have yet to upgrade to the Scream Factory Blu-ray, but I will very soon, and I'm wondering if those elements have been restored in that version. So if you know, let me know in the comments. And this movie was dangerously close to getting a PG-13 rating. The only thing that actually got it an R rating was the zombie at the hospital when he got blown in half. The ratings board wanted them to tone that back, and if they didn't tone that back, they were gonna get an R rating. So they said, fuck it, they left it in, they got an R rating, because this is a very soft zombie film. It is geared totally towards children, no matter what they say. This movie was geared towards children, and it is the perfect gateway drug film for children because you have zombies, they're dumb, they're bumbling, they might look creepy with the makeup, yes, but they're never really a genuine threat. There's a handful of people who are not lead characters that die, but the body count is actually substantially lower than a normal zombie film where zombies take over an entire city. And most of the people that die are either off screen or it's a very minimal death. So this is a great one for your kids, which I think is why I gravitate towards it so much. I was very young and very impressionable, and I had a great time with this movie. I also really like the actress, Susan Snyder, who was also in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. She does a great job of being the ditzy girlfriend. Her and Tom Matthews, their scenes together are very well done, and the comedic timing is fucking near flawless between the two of them. One thing that I do have to nitpick about this movie is very weird ADR choices. And for those of you who don't know what ADR is, it's when the audio from when they were filming gets scrapped or needs to be redone, so they re-record the audio in the studio. And you can pick it out with your eyes closed in this movie. It'll go from a very normal conversation to sounding like they're in a hallway. And there's tons of it in this movie, like really weird spots where it's just like, that sounds strange. And sometimes it can suck you out of the movie, but I like to go into it with that mindset of a child, so I try not to pick that stuff apart too much. And this movie did one thing that George Romero was, is, and always will be the king of zombie films. But this movie did something way ahead of its time and way ahead of George Romero himself. This movie, they showed that you can distract the zombies. In this movie, they use the TV set and aerobics, and it distracts the zombies. They all stop chasing people and watch the TV. And then you fast forward almost 20 years later, and George Romero is doing that with fireworks, the sky flowers in Land of the Dead, making zombies stop so that the human characters can go about their business and raid the grocery stores and things like that. It's really not as bad as people make it out to be. And that's my next gripe, because someone told me Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a 0%. I could not believe that. So I went and looked, and sure as shit, Rotten Tomatoes gives this movie a 0%. And I'm flabbergasted. I say, how in the motherfuck can that be? What is wrong with you people? Why can you not have fun? This movie is so much fun. Do you not enjoy gnarly zombies? Do you not enjoy fucking James Karen being hilarious? Do you not enjoy zombies killing the military? What is wrong? What makes this movie so bad is what I'm getting at. I'm biased, for real. I saw this movie too young to have a negative opinion of it. And so that has stayed with me my entire life. I felt like that this movie was important. This movie is important to let you know about. Most people who will see a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes would write this movie completely off and go, we don't need to see that. And I'm curious to see what they would think about 3, the Brian Usna film where the movie got really dark. This is an important sequel, and it's a great movie to watch with your friends. It's a great movie to share with your friends. It's a great movie to introduce your kids to the genre. These younger horror fans who have been brought up on the Conjuring series or the Blumhouse label in general, it's almost like they never got to have these fun popcorn movies from my generation. And I feel like it's very important to let that generation know that it is okay to watch a horror movie and have a fun time. These jump scare things will not last, but the feeling of watching Return of the Living Dead 2 and laughing and being a little grossed out or whatever, that will last. That should resonate with you and stay with you so that you talk about it and share it with people. And that's very important to keep the memory of these films alive. So that's where I stand with this movie. I think that this is an important movie. I really love this movie, and that's why I had to do this review. So in my personal opinion, motherfuck Rotten Tomatoes 0, and I'm giving this movie 3 out of 5 blood drops, because I have not forgotten what it's like to be a kid. I have not forgotten what it's like to have fun, and I think that you shouldn't either. So That is my rating. Personally, I give it 3 out of 5 blood drops. So if I have swayed you to checking this out for the first time or revisiting it in general, click the link in the description and get a copy of Return of the Living Dead 2 today. I suppose I should probably get going because, after all, there's a lot of movies out there and somebody's got to watch them. So why not me, right?